Welcome to today's audiobook podcast. In this episode, we're going to explore the life of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the most important figures in Indian history. Known as the architect of the Indian Constitution and a champion for the rights of the marginalized, his life journey is filled with challenges, triumphs, and a deep commitment to social justice. This biography is based on his own reflections in my autobiography. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Early Life and Struggles. Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar was born on 14th April 1891 in a small village called Mho in what was then British India, now part of Madhya Pradesh. He came from the Dalit community, which was referred to as untouchables at the time, people who were considered the lowest in the traditional caste system. Ambedkar's early life was marked by discrimination. He was born into a family that faced rejection and prejudice because of their caste. In school, he was often humiliated and treated poorly by both teachers and students because of his background. Despite these challenges, Ambedkar was determined to get an education. He was lucky to have supportive parents, especially his mother, who encouraged him to study and rise above the societal barriers. Chapter 2: Education Against All Odds. Ambedkar's passion for learning was unshakable, even when the world seemed determined to hold him back. After completing his early schooling in India, Ambedkar went to England to further his education. He earned a scholarship and attended the prestigious London School of Economics. During his time in England, Ambedkar studied with some of the brightest minds and earned multiple degrees. He earned a degree in economics and later went on to study law. Ambedkar's intellectual abilities, coupled with his determination to break free from the shackles of caste discrimination, set him apart as a force to be reckoned with. His education abroad exposed him to new ideas about democracy, equality, and social justice, ideas that would later shape his vision for India's future. Chapter 3: Returning to India and the Fight for Equality. When Ambedkar returned to India in 1923, he was already a highly educated and skilled individual. He quickly realized that the challenges of caste discrimination were deeply entrenched in Indian society, and he was determined to change that. He started advocating for the rights of Dalits who faced severe discrimination in all aspects of life. He also began writing and speaking about the importance of education and social reform. Ambedkar knew that for society to change, the Dalits needed education, economic empowerment, and political rights. He soon became the voice of the voiceless, fighting against the oppressive social structure that denied the Dalits their basic human rights. Chapter 4: Social Reforms and Political Activism. Ambedkar was not just an academic, he was also a fierce social reformer. He founded the Bahishkrit Hitkarini Sabha, the Outcasts Welfare Association, to address the issues of untouchability, social inequality, and poverty faced by the Dalits. He also strongly advocated for the rights of women, pushing for greater equality for them within Indian society. Ambedkar understood that no change could happen without giving women equal rights, particularly in education and marriage. His activism also extended to the political realm. In 1930, Ambedkar led the Dalit community in what became known as the Pune Pact, a significant political agreement that granted separate electorates to Dalits, allowing them a voice in government. Chapter 5: The Fight for the Indian Constitution. In 1947, India gained independence from British rule, and Ambedkar was chosen as the chairman of the drafting committee for India's new constitution. Ambedkar's task was monumental. He was to ensure that the new constitution would guarantee equality for all citizens regardless of caste, religion, or gender. Ambedkar worked tirelessly on the constitution, pouring his heart and soul into it. His vision for a fair and just society was clear. The Constitution should protect the rights of every individual, particularly those from marginalized communities. Under his leadership, India's constitution was adopted in 1950, and it became one of the most progressive legal documents in the world. Ambedkar's focus on social justice and his commitment to the protection of rights for Dalits, women, and other marginalized groups made the Indian Constitution a revolutionary document. Chapter 6: Conversion to Buddhism and a New Beginning. Despite his success in drafting the Indian Constitution and his rise to national prominence, Ambedkar faced deep dissatisfaction with the Hindu caste system, which he believed could never be reformed. In 1956, after years of struggle, he made a historic decision to convert to Buddhism. Ambedkar's conversion was not just a personal choice, it was a political statement. He wanted to show the world that it was possible to break free from the chains of caste and embrace a new path of equality and justice. Along with thousands of his followers, he converted to Buddhism in a public ceremony in Nagpur. This conversion was a significant moment in Indian history, as it marked a break from the oppressive social system of caste and a new beginning for many who followed Ambedkar's footsteps. Chapter 7: Health Struggles and Final Days. In the years following his conversion, Ambedkar's health began to decline. Despite facing numerous health challenges, he continued to work tirelessly for the betterment of his people, advocating for social justice, equality, and the rights of the oppressed. Sadly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar passed away on 6 December 1956, just a few months after his conversion to Buddhism. His death marked the end of an era for India's Dalit community and the social reform movement. However, his legacy lived on through the work he did and the changes he brought about. Conclusion: The legacy of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's life was one of incredible struggle, resilience, and profound transformation. He dedicated his life to uplifting the marginalized and fighting for justice, equality, and social reform. From his early days of humiliation and discrimination to his monumental role in shaping modern India, Ambedkar's journey is one of inspiration. As the principal architect of the Indian Constitution, his impact on Indian society and governance is immeasurable. His fight for the rights of Dalits, women, and other marginalized communities continues to influence social reform movements in India today. Dr. Ambedkar's life reminds us that one person can make a difference through determination, intellect, and a steadfast commitment to justice. His legacy lives on, not just in the constitution he helped create, but in the ongoing fight for equality and social justice that continues to this day. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. We hope you've gained a deeper understanding of his impact on Indian society and the world.